I'm Ernie Humphrey, Educational Programs Leader for Performative, the largest online community for corporate finance, accounting, treasury-related professionals. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar, Streamlining Your Opportunity to Cash Process to Deliver Growth and Profitability. Is your finance department struggling to keep up with the growing volume of transactions? Are you burning the midnight oil at month end? As your business grows, so do the demands on your accounting system. Today, Tom Brennan, Vice President of Marketing at FinancialForce.com, and Claire Erskine, Solutions Specialist at FinancialForce.com, will deliver an in-depth view of FinancialForce Accounting and illustrate how companies are leveraging FinancialForce Accounting to automate the opportunity to cash process and eliminating manual keying, realizing a 360-degree view of customers across sales, services, and finance to optimize the customer's experience, and leveraging detailed insights into profitability and performance with out-of-the-box dashboards to deliver value across the enterprise. I would like to thank FinancialForce.com, whose commitment to thought leadership helps us make this webinar possible and delivered at no cost. A quick note on today's agenda. First, we'll hear presentations from each of our featured speakers, and then we'll move to the Q&A session. We will spend the remainder of our hour. We would like this to be an interactive experience for you, so if you have any questions at any time, please go to the questions area and you go to Webinar Control Panel and send us your questions. We can't promise to get all of them in. We will do our best, and we'll follow up afterwards with any questions we do not get to. A few logistical notes about the webinar today. A link to today's presentation and video recording of the webinar will be sent out to all attendees at 24 hours of the event. Please note today's webinar includes a tech demo, and as such is not eligible for CPE credit. Again, we encourage you to ask questions on today's topic via the questions box, and you go to Webinar Control Panel at any time during the webinar. Finally, you'll be asked to take a short survey today regarding the webinar. We greatly appreciate your feedback regarding our event today, as we always strive to improve the ROI we offer our event attendees for their valuable time. A quick word about Performative. Performative is the largest online community resource for senior-level corporate finance, accounting, treasury, and related leaders. Performative connects corporate finance leaders to provide instant advice and insights on the tough financial and strategic challenges that they face every day. I'd like to go ahead and get started by introducing today's featured speakers. Claire Erskine, Solutions Specialist, FinancialForce.com. Claire has over 25 years' experience in the software industry, primarily in providing sales support for financial applications. From working with on-premise solutions at Ross Systems, PeopleSoft, and Oracle to help launch Salesforce.com at the beginning of the SaaS revolution. She has acquired extensive knowledge of the issues facing organizations today, as well as in the challenges providing software and service solutions to the 21st century marketplace. Claire holds a BS in marketing from the University of Massachusetts. Our other featured speaker today is Tom Brennan, Vice President of FinancialForce.com. Tom has over 25 years of experience working with many generations of technology, including the cloud and application service providers. Tom has held senior management positions in marketing, sales, and development of financial software and services companies, including Code Incorporated and ManageDops.com. Tom holds a BS in accounting from Mount St. Mary's University and an MBA in marketing and international business from American University. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to hand the floor over to Tom Brennan at FinancialForce.com. Tom, please take it away for us. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Ernie, and thanks, everyone, for joining us, and happy holidays. I know it's a real busy season for everybody, so we really appreciate you coming on to the webinar. What Claire and I'd like to do today is I'm just going to give you a little background on FinancialForce as a company. Then I'm going to talk at a high level about some of the business challenges you might be facing if you're trying to grow, at the same time do it profitably. And then we're going to talk about the role of the opportunity to cash process and all that. And that's the focus of the demonstration that Claire is going to be doing with you today. So FinancialForce is backed by two companies, Salesforce.com and Unit4. Salesforce.com, you probably know, is a leader in cloud technology, including CRM and their cloud platform. Unit4 has been building back-office business applications for over 34 years. And so what you see here today is the product of the intersection of two great companies, one that knows the back-office application space and the other knows cloud. And so what we've done here, as you'll see, is combined a solution together. So let's, with that, let's kind of get into kind of the subject for today, and that's talking about growth and profitability and how to do that by optimizing the opportunity to cash process. So many of the companies that we talk to face kind of a conundrum that looks something like this. You know, companies kind of growing, and as the company grows, you know, what you want to do is have more drop to the bottom line. You don't want your cost to keep growing at the same pace as your revenue. And that's particularly important if, you know, you're trying to go public or show some sort of path to profitability. But of course, when you grow, you know, more things start happening, your volumes start to increase, and there's more complications in that. And from an accounting perspective, more changes as well. From a complexity point of view, you're going to have more lines of business, more products, which then impacts how you do reporting. You'll have more people as well. So you're going to have more reporting needs. You might find that the chart of accounts you started out with as a business is not going to fit what you're doing today. You might find yourselves in multi-company and multi-currency situations where you've got more jurisdictions and more complex legal arrangements as well. And so all these things start stressing not just your accounting team, but your accounting software as well. Then as your workforce grows, you're going to need more separation of controls, the ability to have more processes in place that cross departments with those controls in place. So that usually requires a more sophisticated accounting solution. And then, of course, if you are going to go public, there's more compliance, audit trail, and other audit requirements generally that go around all that. And so typically when we see people move, when they're trying to grow, they outgrow their accounting system, and the added volume and all these things here add to that, right? So, with that, I guess as a background is, those are things that are going to occur. But one of the big areas when you go and you drill down into growth, where you can impact both the top line and the bottom line, is that opportunity to cash process. And what's interesting is when you look at surveys from various sources, you'll see something that like this from the CFO Alliance that talks about the top operational challenges companies have is, guess what, driving growth and improving margin. What I found interesting about this study there, in addition to cash flow, which is opportunity to cash, of course, too, what I found interesting about this study, it's a CFO study, is that number 3 there is that CFO is not just, the CEO or the VP of sales or service, is thinking about how can companies be more responsive to customers and meet their expectations. And that is a trend we are seeing in the industry. There's a lot of different industry pundits talking about the fact that companies need to be much more customer-centric and how they're organized and how they operate. And of course, that notion has been around for a long time, but it probably really hasn't happened for a lot of reasons to the extent that we think it has to today, especially when customers have got social and mobile technology at their fingertips to react to things. And so one of the things that Forrester talks about is that companies need to be more cautious or more aware of what is going on between a company and their customer along the customer's journey as they buy things and they go through things. And in fact, that's the opportunity essentially we saw at Salesforce or at FinancialForce, is when we looked at, in terms of how our back office applications were built, we thought there was an opportunity there to organize more around that journey as opposed to the older systems and even the cloud systems today. They're still organized around departments and sort of a more traditional approach. And so while accounting software has been out there for years and years, it's gone through a lot of generations. Now we're at the cloud. In some ways, it hasn't really changed much. And so we felt there was an opportunity because of this, real need to grow both the top and bottom line, that there was an opportunity to organize things a little bit better around that journey. So if you look at the journey, a typical journey a customer might have with you, they're going to go through a point, they'll inquire about your services or products, they'll buy it, they'll start getting support, they'll get something delivered, whether it's a service or a product, you invoice them, they pay you, and then eventually they see value of what you've done, and at the same time you see value out of that customer, hopefully by the end of that activity. And then the whole wheel starts again, they'll reconsider and start the buying process again, hopefully buy from you again. But what typically happens at companies is something like this, is that companies are organized around departments, as I was mentioning. There tend to be walls between the departments. It's very hierarchical oriented or segmented, if you will. And so what you'll see is companies will have a sales department, service department, accounting, pretty traditional. So pretty natural thing, but it's not so natural when you're the customer and you're trying to deal with one company, because you're actually dealing with many different departments. And so these walls start causing problems. And typically one of the first things that comes up, each department goes off and they buy their own set of technology. And you'll see people with, say, a cloud app for CRM like Salesforce. They'll have an on-premise ERP system or accounting system. There's probably lots of spreadsheets in between where either of those two don't do the job, say in the billing area or in RevRec or other areas. There's lots of spreadsheets. And so what you'll see is this, fragmentation of the departments by technology. You might have different logins, security, and everything that goes with that. And that starts, running through a lot of other things in the company or causing other problems. And the first one is a visibility problem. So if you're trying to improve customer service, to grow the top line, what you'll find is that in this environment is, one department doesn't necessarily know what the other department's doing. And neither department may, in this case, may know exactly everything they need to know about the customer. And likewise, the customer may not will get sort of a separated view of the company as well. So that's the first thing, and certainly that impacts what's going on with the customer. And then what starts happening is there's a lot of email and IMs and things going back and forth between the customers and potentially the customer to handle things. And especially if you look at this department situation where, say, an invoice goes out and it goes from one department to the other, and maybe there's rekeying involved and it was done wrong, and then it gets to the customer, they complain, then there's a lot of back and forth. The salesperson calls, or the customer calls the salesperson calls accounting, and you're going around and around. And so there's a whole lot of activity going on with that. And really, what's happening is, you have the possibility, of course, of not keeping that customer happy by that type of activity. So if your opportunity to cash process is a bit clunky and has the potential for errors or even lateness or some kind of latency and all that can be a problem. But what starts happening between each of these separation areas between technologies and walls is you start leaking time and money out of your business. And so when you look at the opportunity to cash process, if you start raising your revenue and you start doing more transactions, but you just create more and more activity that's going on between all these departments, your costs are going to go up at the same rate that your revenues are. And so to really grow the top line and the bottom line, you have to take care of that customer first so they can buy more from you, but then wring out that time and money costs that are going on as a result of this process. And so from our perspective, we thought that was a great opportunity that we could do something better with this process. And for us, the opportunity, and we had built back office applications for many years in our parent company, but we saw this opportunity where Salesforce had done this wonderful job of creating a cloud platform that was very customer-centric with CRM applications, sales, marketing, and service, that service sort of that front end of the process. And it had been pretty, they've done a great job with that. But the problem is that, once you sold something, it went over the wall to the back office side, and you had all those problems that I was talking about earlier on. So what we did here is we created a set of applications, back office applications that fully complement Salesforce CRM, whether you supply chain application if you deliver or you sell products, a professional services apps if you sell services or both, billing application, RevRec, accounting that we're going to talk about here today, along with a little bit of RevRec, and the analytics underneath it. And so from our perspective, we thought it would be a great idea to build on the FinancialForce, or on the Salesforce platform alongside the Salesforce CRM. And one of the things we're able to do, and Claire will show you, is that we're able to share the same information about that customer, no matter who you are in the company. Assuming you give them access, they're going to be able to see everything that's going on with that customer, and there'll be one customer record for your whole company to see everything that's happening with that particular customer. And there's a little bit beyond the scope of today. Underlying that is also your people and all the analytics that go with that. So we also provide a human capital management HR system that supports all the people in that process, and several analytic and dashboard capabilities that go across that as well. But we'll cover that another day. So when you put the whole thing together, you want to see that all your apps are sitting on one set of technology around one set of data. And so by choosing the Salesforce cloud platform for your business to go from CRM all the way through delivery and through accounting, you can have one cloud database with a single sign-on for all the users in your company. And because it's cloud-based and done naturally that way, there's also mobile capabilities that are fantastic on the platform that we're not quite able to show you here today, but we'd be happy to arrange for it. But what you get is this end-to-end solution and an end-to-end set of technology like workflow tools that go from sales, service, marketing, and accounting all across the same system. You're also able to use what's called Chatter, which is a collaboration tool that's embedded in all Salesforce apps, including ours, that allows you to have conversations across departments about what's going on with the customer. In fact, you're actually going to have conversations with the customer if you like to. So the idea here is you've got this one system and all the transactions in the database are in there, but you also have one place to store the conversations that are happening on that. There's a number of capabilities there technically that I'd love to talk to you about, but for time's sake, I'll move on. And so the way this whole thing then, when you put it all together, looks is you've got Salesforce CRM in the front end, our applications on the whole delivery through the back office side of things to provide one complete solution circled around that customer with one customer record in the middle. And that's all supported underneath by the Salesforce platform that provides us all these tools like dashboarding, reporting, mobile, and such. So with that, I think I should bring on Claire, and she can take you through a demonstration. And our goal here is to show how you can optimize that process across the opportunity to cash process so your costs don't go up and things drop to the bottom line. So Claire?
Great. Thanks very much, Tom. So I know initially, I think probably a good introduction to the group is the fact that because we're built on the Salesforce platform, we certainly inherit all the capabilities that come with the platform. And for those of you who use Salesforce today, the answer should be very evident just looking at my landing page, because it looks exactly like Salesforce does. Of course, with the differences that I have a very unique dashboard components that I wish to see, but you'll see right from the URL at the top, I am logged in to Salesforce and then directed to my landing page where I now have access to all those applications. My drop down here we can see in the top right-hand corner, and my tabs across the top, in this case being a mixture of both from Salesforce as well as from FinancialForce. And the capabilities that we're able to take advantage of, beginning from our search capabilities. So here, if I just type in Bright May, it's going to do a cross-platform search. So now I can search not only just specifically within an application, but you'll see it's brought up projects from our PSA application. We have sales invoices, our account, opportunity, cases from the Service Cloud. So being quickly accessible to any of the data across the platform, including if I wanted to search my Chatter feed. Now, Chatter, something that you mentioned, that a great collaboration tool that we're able to take advantage of. And actually, I'll flip over here real quickly to an account just to show actually some conversations that have happened. And with that ability to, first of all, follow a particular, in this case, an account or even a transaction, and be able to follow anything that's happening. So if in this case you'll see the accounts past due, and Allison said, oh yes, I'll definitely put a call on them today to do some collection activities. So allowing the customers to really truly collaborate, and then to have that documented, which is really rather than these disparate emails going back and forth, we have the whole history that we can go back and look at as part of Chatter and look at that that information that's transpired. Certainly under my dashboard heading, as I mentioned, I've got my key metrics that I wish to see. So being able to utilize the dashboard and the reporting capabilities, of which we'll take a little bit more look at as we go through today, but being able to deliver to each user exactly those key metrics that they want to see when they log in, and of course do so very graphically. Makes it very easy to consume a lot of data in one place, and then if need be, of course, always be able to just click on that particular dashboard and drill down into that next level of detail. Something that we're also able to take advantage of is the whole workflow and approval engine. So being able to set up and create approval workflows. For example, here under my items to approve, I've got a couple of payables invoices, but certainly you can set up an approval workflow on any of the different types of transactions, sales invoices, journal entries, etc., and be able to create them with any number of steps. In fact, let's go ahead and click on one here. We can see here a summarization of what this is. It's the monthly phone bill. We've got some comments, and then you can see here all of the actual steps, what the statuses were, who was assigned to and approved, so really having all of the history behind that approval as well. And then as far as delivering those or notifying, Of course, I have them here on my landing page, but you can also send approvals out through Chatter. So being able to use the Chatter capability to deliver notifications for approvals, as well as even through email, and being able to reply and respond to that request for approval with an email. So making it easy as possible to not only notify approvers in the way they best respond, but also enable them to respond quickly as well. And then certainly with workflow, being able to take what today may be manual processes in your organization and to set up workflow rules that really help automate the process to send someone emails when, for example, an opportunity's been closed won and it's time to invoice it, and drop a task in their task list as well. So some great functionality around defining workflow rules to really help automate a number of processes within the system. And certainly you can see that again, being built on the platform, that learning curve in the whole navigation area is much streamlined because we're exactly the same UI, all the same navigation and capabilities that you enjoy today using Salesforce.
So Claire, in the opportunity to cash process, the center of that really is the customer. And earlier on I was talking about where there's walls between departments, and typically what we see, frankly, we see people with a customer record in their CRM system. They'll have another one probably in a billing system. Many times that's Excel. And then they have an accounting system and a receivable system and maybe others with multiple customer records. You touched on it a little bit, but could you go in and show everybody how we use one customer record and they get a complete view of everything that's going on with them?
Exactly, Tom. I mean, that certainly is one of the very key values that we deliver as well in providing truly that one view of your data. And in this case, I flipped over here to take a look at one of our accounts, a customer in fact, and we'll see that I can not only have access to the opportunities from a CRM perspective, but now I can also see the sales invoices. I can see credit notes, payments that they've made. If we're also looking at our professional services application, I can see the projects. If you're using the Service Cloud, I can see the cases. So it truly is one database of information. So there's no having to run an interface or rekeying data, synchronizing two or more systems together, and giving the users access, saying, I know I'm looking at the most up-to-date information without wondering if, is this been synced? Is this truly, are these all of the invoices that they have? Are these the payments that have been done? And also because of the way that Salesforce has been in fact designed, is it's very easy now, and really part of why they designed it, the system this way, is to give different users different views of that same data. So as a salesperson, I may just have access to see just my opportunities and my contacts and not any of the other financial information, let's say. Certainly that's one of the values of having everything together, is so the salespeople can in fact see that there's outstanding invoices and help with that collection process. But also down to the action buttons that we see here, as well as even down to the field level. So being able to give everyone access to exactly what they should see, and probably more importantly, what they should not be seeing. And then certainly along with that is the fact that we're just extending the use of these existing, the existing data model. So we're not adding accounts per se, but we're adding fields of data. So you'll see here a number of areas: account balances, cash matching, accounting information, that all apply now to the fact that we're using FinancialForce Accounting along with Salesforce. So being able to add the appropriate data points that we need now to process from an accounting perspective.
Well, that's great, Claire. This is interesting. I met a couple of our customers out at Dreamforce, which is an event out in San Francisco, about a month ago, and they were talking about how they use this view when they go see their customers. And one of them was saying that he certainly takes his phone, but he also goes with his iPad, and he sits down with the customer to talk about what's going on with their account, what projects they have, what shipments are being done, are in process, where they are, that type of thing. And he literally has on his iPad or even his phone, if you have to get a chance to see this, is he has all this information available right there in front of the customer, and many of his customers are just blown away by how much he's got at his fingertips to be able to service them. And literally any question they've got, he's got it right there. And he happened to be, high-level management person in the company, but you'll see not only him, but in his company, but all of our accounts, they'll enable their frontward customer-facing people to have this information so they can answer the customer's questions. They don't have to get on the phone with people in the back office team. So everything you see here is also available via mobile apps as well, whether it's an iPhone type of app or an iPad as well. So with that, I guess, we were talking about the opportunity to cash process, Claire. Maybe we should just start at the beginning of it and run through it. With the amount of time we have, we'll cover as much as we can. But maybe you want to take them through how do we create invoices coming from those Salesforce opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. That is, again, being able to leverage, as you say, being able to be in front of a customer and leverage all the data about them. And that certainly is from beginning at that opportunity stage. And also, too, I think we should mention, very important, it's not just being able to, what I'm going to show is creating, as you can see here, my action button, create an invoice from an opportunity. But I think it's extremely important to note that you can do this with any object that's on the platform. So whether perhaps you're creating invoices from contract data or a custom object that you've built that's housed the data that you use to invoice your customers. And that certainly is the power of actually a tool that comes with FinancialForce called ClickLink to be able to actually take data from one place, so from an opportunity, from a case, the service case, for example, on the Service Cloud, or even custom objects, and be able to seamlessly take that data and move it into, I'm going to click on Create an Invoice here right now, and with just a single click, be able to leverage information on the account, in this case on the opportunity, on the products. So we're also utilizing the product master data as well, and now being able to create a sales invoice. That's no rekeying, and also obviously I just did a one opportunity to one invoice, but to know that the capability is also there to be able to do this in the background. So to select a group of opportunities or a group of cases and be able to have this process run in the background and have a number of invoices created at one time. And now, not only have I done this seamlessly with no rekeying of data, I also have my dynamic links back to the original transaction. So here we can see here that this originated from the opportunity I was just reviewing. You can also see I have fields if it were a project or a case or again, even a custom object that an organization might have created to house that data they use to invoice customers. Very, very powerful to not only have it all, again, seamlessly on one platform, but to be able to always quickly and easily go back and see exactly where that originated from. And then you'll see a variety of fields. Of course, here as part of my invoice, it's built out all of my dates. The status is in progress, which means I have the ability to review it. Maybe I need to add a line or two on here for miscellaneous tracking purposes, whatever the reason is, maybe change the due date and give them an extra week or two to pay the invoice. But once that's done, I'm ready to finalize it. I can preview the invoice if I wish to before even sending it out, but I'm going to go ahead and finalize and post it. Now the actual general ledger transactions are going to get created dynamically. They're going to be then available so I can see in this one I just didn't do my balancing right, so there's a good error check for me. But the posting process will then finalize it, create those transactions for me, and then enable me to run any reports on the details that I in fact created. Now I know that an area coming up, and I'll let you kind of introduce that, Tom, as well, but certainly from a revenue recognition standpoint, being able to, of course, we have many customers that, that recognize their revenue as part of their invoicing process, but we certainly have capabilities that go far beyond that, which I think I'll let you go ahead and introduce that before I get into to that piece of the presentation.
Yeah, that's a big topic. I guess, when I was showing that line where, the arrow goes up, sales go up, you produce more transactions, I think one of the points we wanted to make here, one of the first places where we see companies struggle is to be able to create invoices very quickly and do it accurately. And so what Claire was illustrating there, that if you're using Salesforce today, very easily to create invoices the right way the first time, and so you don't get that whole rework cycle that I was showing earlier on. And it's done quickly, so they get out the door more quickly, and if they're accurate, they're more likely to be paid more quickly, and you don't have that kind of rework cycle. If there is a question, we have that single view of the customer. Anybody who's talking to that customer can resolve it, so you don't get any of that back-end cost and back and forth that goes with that. So that's a big part of it. And of course, then when the cash comes in, there's a number of facilities to match the cash. But I think one of the things that Claire's alluding to that we wanted to show to you that we think is causing an awful lot, and it's a little outside the opportunity cash process, but it's in the RevRec world. And what's happening is we've got more regulations in RevRec. There's more complexity in those. There's more audits, scrutiny around it as well. And so it's a relatively complex topic. And so what we're seeing, though, is that companies are adding more and more revenue streams. They're adding multiple revenue streams, sometimes on a single invoice. So you might sell a product. You might add a professional service to go with it. You might sell some sort of recurring service like a maintenance service or a managed service, or you may even have subscriptions of some kind of price. And that could all be on one invoice. And frankly, the older ERP systems really struggle with that. They're sort of geared on the invoice and have a hard time breaking out those multi-element, or what are known as multi-element arrangements, and doing the RevRec. And so one of the things that we see constantly, one of those little walled-in areas, there's a whole other gap there where people are using spreadsheets to do RevRec. And so they take the data out of the various systems, they put it into a spreadsheet by account. Again, there's another account record. They put the dollar amounts in there, and they have to wait for the trigger event to come from something, which is usually on the platform. And so what we did recognizes that is we built a RevRec engine here that sits right in this process that allows you to pull the revenue recognition activity, both the trigger events and the dollar amounts from those multi-element arrangements, to recognize it. And without giving away the whole thing, I should just stop there and let Claire show you. It was probably a better idea. Sorry, Claire.
No, not at all, Tom. That was a great introduction, and that is so true with all the regulations that everyone is experiencing. So actually, let me just bring up really quickly. I'll kind of start at the end, and we can go back and look at some source data. But as Tom just spoke about, this is kind of our key screen for revenue recognition, and the ability to now at a line item level, and it could be, you'll see here, I'm actually in a custom object called billing contract, but you'll see I have a tab for sales invoices as well as for projects, and this could be extended to capture any source data that you have on the platform, no matter where it's from, to be able to then pull in, you'll see here, I'll highlight here, I have a billing contract with 3 different line items. You can see one, so this is definitely a multi-element arrangement, where this is for a service contract. You can see here, this particular one is the maintenance, and then I'll highlight the last one, which is for an actual product. And the ability to determine under the template heading is really the methodology of how you are going to recognize your revenue, whether it's, I've got it set up here to do equal split, but we also have percent complete as well as deliverable options for being able to do that. So number one, we've got the ability to go after the source data on the platform, no matter where it's coming from, whether it's from a sales invoice, whether a project, for example, if you're using PSA, or certainly a custom object, to be able to set up what those parameters are, how you're going to recognize the revenue. And then this essentially becomes your audit trail. So if we take a look here at this particular example, you can see that here's my total revenue for each line item. You can see that I've already previously recognized revenue, and then this is what's going to be calculated this period. Now let me open up a detailed view, because you can see I can now drill down at the line level. I can drill back to the actual billing contract. You can see here, which I can bring up, and this is the custom object showing my line items that I'm doing annual billings or one-time billings. I can also go back and reference. In this case, here was the previous revenue recognition. I'll go ahead and open that up actually in a new tab. And we can now see all the details. This is your audit trail. So this is definitely not your mother's Excel spreadsheet anymore, because that can be changed at whim, whereas this is permanent. So this is showing me that here I did this RevRec run. Here are all of my detailed transactions, going back to exactly all the GL accounts, all the totals. So truly giving you that complete audit trail, and even back again, I can drill back and look at how the template was defined, and all the way back to the actual line item itself. So not only providing the mechanism for actually doing the calculations that, as you said, Tom, so many of our customers are doing today on these massive spreadsheets. I talked to actually a company not too long ago, and they had maxed out the number of lines on Excel. I mean, that's a pretty scary proposition when you think about it. I mean, that's incredible, and this was their revenue recognition, and having to deal with this on a monthly basis, and now being able to not only have this set up, but to also, I think as importantly, have that audit trail. So the auditors come in, they can go back and look and see exactly how everything was done throughout the year, what the revenue that was recognized, how it was in fact done within the system, and be able to confidently stand behind the numbers and why in fact how that was set up and why it was set up, and being able to, as well, as I said in this case, I have 3 different lines with the same template, but certainly these could be all different methodologies, deliverable, percent complete, the equal split for a different one for each one, but certainly seeing and delivering to our customers the ability to get away from those spreadsheets and have not only a great revenue recognition engine to be able to create those calculations, but also, as importantly, I think, to have that audit trail behind it.
Yeah, so this RevRec issue has become a real thorn in the side, I know, of a lot of companies right now. And what we chose here is, because the revenue activity is on the Salesforce platform, whether it's the actual dollars, the transactions that are coming through, but also those trigger events, you're able to essentially run RevRec right from the CRM engine, if you will, so that you can see where things are coming from, and it's done correctly with the audit trail there. I'll drill back to those events that created it, but then also provide the accounting detail. Now, if you don't happen to have our accounting system, by the way, these GL entries can go off to, say, an SAP or an Oracle, which is fine. So this can run freestanding. It works with all our apps, our professional services automation app as well on this. So I guess, again, this is one of those cumbersome things that happens in that opportunity, process, the revenue management process, really, as you're growing, more and more of this activity grows. Then, if you recall, sort of at the end of that cycle, I had a little notion about, measuring the value and the analytics of what's going on. And so, Claire, if you could give everybody a kind of a thumbnail sketch of our reporting capabilities, that would probably be good here for today. And if they have got more details, of course, we can do later on. But we've got about 5-6 minutes if you want to do that.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Certainly being able to, I'll skip over here, to one of a dashboards that is summarized all of our financial data essentially by the different dimensions that we're tracking within the system, and the ability to do that. And let me just go over here real quickly to a transaction line item where we can see that this is actually the build out of our chart of account code, where we have company, the general ledger account, our account and product, and also 4 user-defined dimensions. So going with that more relational approach as opposed to a very linear approach to being able to get data into the system. And then obviously, very, very key in being able to report on it, whether it's through a dashboard, the reporting capabilities with the Salesforce platform, great ad hoc tool, being able to go in and take a report, be able to save it as a new report, make changes to it. We deliver about 75 pre-configured reports on the Salesforce reporting tool, and so this is a great tool for pulling data in, not just specifically from FinancialForce Accounting, but across the platform. Again, having that tool to be able to pull that. Now, in conjunction with that, and very complementary to this, is actually our FinancialForce reporting tool, which we designed really specifically for creating those outward-facing formal financial statements, and really getting more involved in the format as you see here for this particular report, but being able to with FinancialForce reporting. So here I've got a listing of all the different reporting definitions that we provide with the tool. You can see there are 48 of them so far, which we continue to add to the database of information that we deliver, and then from there be able to create and run reports. So for example, in running this particular balance sheet, the ability to actually have dynamic prompts. So having a definition, but then when you run the report, you can specify, in this case I'm specifying a company, I'm specifying a current period, and then I can either save the report as a PDF or as an Excel spreadsheet, or if I go ahead and choose to view it, then you'll see here I can view it dynamically on the screen, and you can see very much of a nicely formatted kind of formal report. So what we find is that having the two reporting tools very complementary, this FinancialForce reporting being really more for your month-end, quarter, and year-end type reports, and the Salesforce reporting tool really being for your kind of ad hoc, dynamic, daily type transactional reports, being able to go in, for example, here, take a look and see the transactions, which I haven't run any today, so I can go and see what I did yesterday and rerun the report with my date range and say I did a variety of transactions yesterday within the system. So very flexible and great tools. And then of course, you know, with the dashboards, really now being able to pull together that reporting information and have the data displayed more from a graphical standpoint. So here, as I said, this one is an example of pulling together different graphs and reports by our different dimensions. We also deliver, and what's nice is being able to see, for example, for accounts receivable, more from a process flow standpoint. So we have a AR dashboard, an accounts payable dashboard, and you can see data summarized here, a list of customers, accounts receivable aging, my deferred income, so from a revenue recognition standpoint. And then also just an example of another dashboard that we've built out here is month-end close dashboard, where actually because of our design of FinancialForce Accounting as a single ledger real-time system, the month-end close becomes extremely streamlined because of the fact you're not having to worry about closing out the payables ledger or the receivables ledger to the general ledger. It's just not one nice simplified ledger system. And this dashboard, again, is an example of just being able to summarize. We've got trial balance, P&L balance sheet, and down the left-hand side we've got all the different types of transactions that are in progress and we may need to take a look at and actually finalize and post before completing that. But again, very simplified because of the design of FinancialForce and the way that you can, again, very easily and quickly get data into the system, not only with the fact that it's multidimensional, but also the design of the single ledger real-time system.
Yeah, great point, Claire, and I neglected to point that out earlier on. As soon as you post that invoice, it updates right from accounts receivable or right through the GL. So if you're going on a mobile phone, you go look at your P&L, it's going to be updated right there as it happened. And so you don't have to wait for any batch processing or any kind of run at the end of the month for that. You know, one of the things that we struggle with sometimes is trying to cram a lot in here. And there's a whole bunch of capability here for you to measure profitability and your revenues in more detail than you may be able to today due to the type of accounting system. You may have an older accounting system with an old sort of chart of accounts concept or code block concept in it, or you might be from an entry-level bookkeeping system that's sort of limited. One of the things I'd urge you to do if you are growing, if you're coming out of one of those entry-level systems, is take a good hard look at your chart of accounts, and that's something we'd love to help you with. There's lots of ways for you to configure it here so you measure things accurately and get a better view of what's going on in your growing business. And you can, in fact, you can even do things like customer profitability as well. So with that, I think we should probably just move into a couple of final points, and then I think Ernie may have some questions that are coming in from the audience as well. If we go back to the slides here, Ernie. There's a couple points we're just going to make here. We'd be happy to have you speak with our references. You'll see our customers are across lots of different industries. A lot of them are very growth-oriented. So say New Market Software up at the top is a high-growth company in the hotel software space. Blue Wolf is a big consulting firm that's growing like a weed at the moment. Pandora Internet Radio in the lower left is one real fast-growing business out of the San Francisco area, of course. So we've been down that path before, and if you are growing, we can help you. Then there's a couple of things we'd love to offer you. There's a vital analysis report about cloud software written by Brian Summer from Vital Analysis. Real handy thing. He interviewed a number of customers and where they shared their experience of moving from old on-premise into the new world. And to learn more, come to our website. We've got lots of videos and other events. And of course, today we only showed you one small aspect of what we can deliver. We have lots of other apps we'd love to talk to you about. So that, Ernie, I'll turn it over to you and we can go to Q&A.
Thank you very much, Tom and Claire, for that great content. First question I'll direct Tom's way as far as your functionality concerns. Do you have purchasing and fixed assets as well functionality?
Yes, we do. And we have two types of purchasing. One is for direct spend, so if you've got products that you sell and you inventory, you need it replenished, there's a whole supply chain capability for that. And there's also a capability for indirect spend if you're not a product company per se, but you're buying pens, pencils, computers, consulting services, things like that, and you want to get a better handle on where you're spending it. So it's a full sort of rec-to-check process where you can requisition things, put it through that workflow that Claire showed you earlier on for approvals through POs and PO matching and receiving, and right into automatic input into accounts payable. Then there's also a fixed assets application that can sit at the end of that purchasing process, as a matter of fact. So when you buy it, it can deposit the asset in fixed assets that tracks them and does a depreciation as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Tom. Next question I'll direct to Claire. Is there multi-currency functionality, and if so, could you give us a brief overview of that functionality?
Oh, absolutely. We most definitely do. And you have the ability, first of all, to transact in any number of currencies that you set up within FinancialForce. As it's linked or really integral with our multi-company capability is that each company has essentially has two currencies. So you set up a company with its base or home currency, and then you also designate a dual or reporting currency. So obviously, so you could enter, for example, I could be operating in my UK company. I could enter an invoice in euros. It's going to immediately translate that invoice into both pounds as well as U.S. dollars, being the dual currency, and then and do all of the realized gain and loss transactions dynamically. And then for consolidation purposes, now I can consolidate my U.S. company and my UK company at the reporting currency level at U.S. dollars. So I can see both companies either singularly report on them in their home currencies or do consolidations and run those as well in their in the dual currency. And we also provide a process where you can also do for month-end, year-end purposes, do all of your unrealized gain and loss calculations and transactions within FinancialForce.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'll ask another question Claire's way. There's a question around one of our attendees creates their timesheets on charge codes to create the invoices based on the timesheets. Is there any functionality on the PSA side to keep timesheets or import that timesheet data?
Well, we have full time entry capabilities within professional services, so most definitely enter it either directly in the application, either via the app or via your mobile device. It's certainly the ability, if need be, you could certainly bring that data in and import that in from another system.
Okay, great. Thanks, Claire. Tom, I'll throw this question your way. Can you give us an overview of how the system handles inventory?
Well, yeah, it's just as you saw here today, it's an application module that sits on the platform. So you're able to go into, Salesforce as a CRM user and work on a quote and look into stock to see what you have available and what you can promise, and then create quotes, take it through that process and changes to that, create orders against it, and then that goes into the inventory system, where you can pull, pack and ship the item, send it out, also mark, where it is in the shipment cycle. So say it's with FedEx or somebody like that, and with links into that so you can see where the goods are in process. And so there's a full capability in terms of different levels of inventory and multiple warehouses and such. Also, there's a light assembly capability in case you do, it's not, I would call it light manufacturing, but it's really not, it's just a light assembly where if you've got some components you need to put together to kit out, say, and ship out for a customer as well. And then, of course, when the inventory starts coming down, you've got stocking levels and other things that automatically generate POs to the procurement system, send them out to your suppliers. Then on the supplier side, you can actually build a supplier portal as well for them to see what's going on from an activity point of view. That's a whole other discussion.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. Next question I will direct to Claire. Can you give us a brief overview of how you can restrict access to various parts of the accounting application?
Yes, Ernie. It's really taking advantage of the security on the Salesforce platform, and it's really multi-layered. So you can get down to the field level, where first of all you're going to look at what applications someone has access to, the functions within those applications using profiles and permissions, and then even down at the data level to be able to say whether perhaps I can just view as opposed to being able to not only view but create and edit and even delete. So there's lots of components to that to really ensure that everyone is accessing not only and seeing the data they should see, but they're doing with it what they're permissioned to do as well.
Okay, great. Kind of a related question for you, Claire. As far as the licensing is concerned, does there need to be a one-to-one correlation if people are pulling in data from Salesforce to their FinancialForce license? How does that work? So my better way to ask it is if there's a FinancialForce sign-in, is that somehow linked to your Salesforce sign-in somehow?
Do you want me to take that, Claire?
Oh, sure. Go. Yeah.
What do you want? Yeah, so you can have independent users. So first off, I should say you don't need Salesforce to run FinancialForce. So we issue a license for our applications, and it uses basically the Force.com platform that's underneath it. There are cases where you're going to want your CRM users to have an accounting user, say, for that 360-degree view. So we have different types of licenses. So one's a full user who might be doing accounting, billing on down the line. But then there's another one called a 360-degree user that's sort of a read-only user that's going in to see what's going on. That example, someone going out to a customer with their iPad to be able to see what's happening, but they're not actually entering billing and receivables transactions necessarily. So that's how we distinguish it. But not all your Salesforce users need our user licenses, and vice versa. It doesn't have to be that way, vice versa.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. Claire, I'll go ahead and direct this question your way. Can you give us an overview of how your workflow system works in just a little bit more detail?
Yes, absolutely can do that. It's really, again, taking advantage of the workflow and approval engine that's on the platform. So it's really kind of twofold. where with workflow, the ability to say, well, I want this set of approvals for payables invoices, and I define this set of approvals for sales invoices, and it's really, you can take advantage of the wizard capability and actually having Salesforce, when you go in, it really prompts you for each step that it needs, as far as who is it to be directed to, what are the email template that's going to be used, when something gets approved, does someone get an email letting them know that it's been approved? When it's rejected, how is that handled? What are the different steps, and what are the different actions as a result of each one of those steps? So approval workflow can be fairly straightforward, or it can actually be very complex depending upon what an organization's requirements are as far as how they want to set their processes up in the system.
Okay, great.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Can I add to that, Ernie? There's some interesting things going on with that. Salesforce just recently announced something called Salesforce One, which is a new platform that we've taken advantage of, and you know, the world is definitely moving towards social media, if you will, and we, as you saw, we have social media with chatter embedded in the app, and so people are working within these chatter streams. So they see a chatter stream about a customer and there's some issue, and what they want to do is start initiating workflow from within the chatter stream. So it's a little different way of working. It's certainly how my kids are probably being trained to work today because they're on Facebook so much, but is you're having a conversation, and from there you want to initiate the workflow, and you're now able to do that with Salesforce One, and we've got apps that do that as well. And we think that's a real interesting way, the way work is changing. And instead of, you know, you're in a chatter stream, you're learning something about it, then you have to window out, go into the app, start all over again, whereas you're right there, you know what you want to do, create that little micro moment or little action that you want to create. You can do it right within the chatter stream.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. A question to Tom, and we've had a few questions around HR and payroll. Can you speak to the functionality you might have, or your APIs that would link out to those systems?
Yeah, sure. So you know, you can choose whatever HR app you want, but we would love you to look at ours. So our Human Resources app, again, is just like you saw the other apps here today. It's a native app that sits on the platform. So any of your HR folks or any employees that are accessing self-service functions are going to have the same user interface, same login, everything that we talked about earlier on, same reporting tools, even workflow for things like time and attendance and stuff like that. So essentially it's that same base platform, and on there are human resource capabilities, talent management and performance reviews, recruiting, onboarding, absent management, and benefits and compensation. So there's quite a very full set of capabilities there. The one thing we don't do on our own is payroll. We feel payroll is a bit of a commodity. There's lots of services that do that, and we can integrate with them, and we do often, in fact, in every case. So basically, we get files from the payroll system into HR, then pass in through to GL those entries. You know, and it's all the big firms you would think of, like ADP or say Paychex.
Okay, great. Others. Thanks. One final question for the Q&A, Tom. What can the folks look for as far as new functionality and features in 2014?
Well, you know, we've just added in quite a bit here, RevRec, Human Resources and Supply Chain recently. So what you're going to see is the first thing is those are going to go deeper, and accounting. All those are going to go deeper in functionality. And so that's sort of the first thing is we see more and more opportunity to make them richer overall. And you know, we get feedback from customers. We have a system called Ideas where we track user feedback, and we use that religiously to help build out the app. So that's the first thing. But we'll also be going broader and doing more connections. And so a great example was that HR example we were talking about earlier on is we're doing integrations between that and our PSA app because in the professional services world, people are the business, and so you know, an HR is the people system, and so where we're going to be putting more links in between the PSA app and HR, so that when you know you see a requirement where you need 100 consultants and you need to hire them, it feeds it back into the HR system. You look at what you've got for resources there. You start initiating all the job recs to get them done, and then it passes the information back through. So there's some really, really cool things like that that we want to do with the applications. But
Great.
That's just one example.
Thanks, Tom. With that, I'll go ahead and close the Q&A session. In closing, a big thank you to Tom and Claire for their time and insights. Clearly thought leaders in their field, an excellent source of information on today's topic. Note in the post-webinar survey, you'll have the opportunity to express your interest in being connected with them with just one or a few mouse clicks. Thanks again to our sponsor, FinancialForce.com. Quick note, registration for Performative Second Annual Performance Conference is open, and the early bird registration is winding down. Conference is all about helping companies take full advantage of the current revolution in corporate finance technology to drive results across the enterprise. The great content features keynote speaker John Stevens, Senior Executive VP and CFO of AT&T. Finally, a big thank you to the audience for your valuable time. We hope to see you again at another Performative event or online at www.performative.com. Make the rest of your day great, everyone, and happy holidays.